Terrific Thursday, everyone. Welcome to another life changing edition of Faces of Resilience. This is your host, Furley Almonte. Today is going to be a little bit different because typically we go through many adversities in life that involves human beings. But today we're going to also delve into our fur babies and how it impacts our lives and how it could actually inspire so many people to be able to create something meaningful as well. Well, actually, I met my new friend, Nancy Gordon, at a networking event, and we just hit it off because you can very well see she's a very, very vibrant soul. And she is also one who is very unique and inspiring. And I could not be more thrilled to have her on my show because she's going to share with us her very unique story of resilience. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Nancy Gordon. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Furley. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction.
You
Um,
are looking good, girl. That I love the outfit you're wearing.
we go together.
I know. I felt like we spoke like it's so well coordinated, so
Yeah,
amazing.
and
Like we gel. We see each other.
we do because we've had similar experiences in life with loss and trauma and resilience.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, when we had a nice long conversation, it's almost like we were friends for a long, long time, and we just, like we just gelled. We got each other. So, and
Yeah.
I said right away, Nancy, you have to come to my show because you have a very unique story that so many people could actually relate to as well. Because aside from human beings, actually, our pets oftentimes become very much a part of our family, and that we actually wail, we cry hysterically, we grieve over the loss of them. But before we get there, I would love for you to share with the audience your backstory as to where all of your grief has come from, like your journey from early childhood to the accident that you're going to share about, and also how the healer in the very unusual place actually has come into play in your life. So go ahead, share your story, my dear.
Thank you. I love sharing my story because it is inspiring to people, and that's what brings me joy. It's kind of my way of making lemonade out of lemons. So I when you talk about childhood, I grew up in a really pretty happy, functional home, and I was very extroverted. I had goals. I made my goals. Whatever my intention was, I accomplished it and more. And that went through my early adulthood. I got my master's in social work and license in social work. And then I had a private practice for 17 years and loved it. The last 6 of those, however, were after I had a very traumatizing and debilitating car accident. And so my story really changed from how I was as a child and through my early adulthood with a very extroverted, very successful, very happy life to really the minute the second and really the nanosecond that the metal of our 2 cars hit, my life changed forever. And it was a real life defining moment. We all have life defining moments, and um, what I've learned about that is that how you respond and what you make of those life defining moments really determines who you are, who you become, and how happy you are.
So talk to us about the accident first. So what exactly happened, and what um what disability has been a result of that?
Well, it's interesting you say, how did it happen? Because people don't normally ask me how it happened, but it happened as part of my story. It's sort of an example of what my life was like. I was driving my car. I had a Mazda MR2, a little sporty car, fast, red, loved it, with a friend of mine, a colleague friend, and we were on the way to going to my home that was being built on a little lake in Oregon. And that was kind of like my dream, to have this home built exactly as I wanted it on water. I'm a water person. So we were on the way and somebody pulled out in front of me and we T-boned, and that's the end of that story of my life. And then it became a whole process of trying to figure out what was wrong with me, because at the time, I didn't even know I was really injured. And that unfolded actually pretty quickly, how injured I was. And at the time, fibromyalgia, which was one of the results of this car accident, a chronic pain, very debilitating condition that has other conditions associated, like sleep loss and, disturbed sleep and a whole host of other things. They didn't know that much about it. I'd never heard of the term. And it took 3 years for me to get diagnosed. So in those 3 years, while I'm still working in my private practice, I'm in an experience that I'd never really had before, which is I set a goal, I achieved it. I set a goal to heal my body, to get better. I was in constant pain. I couldn't get better. In fact, I got worse. And as I got worse, I got more and more depressed and anxious and really clueless about, how to deal with what happened to me and how to manage my practice. So I did everything imaginable. I cut down clients, I cut down hours, I, did everything. And I still, after 6 years, realized if I keep going like this, I don't want to live. I was really not seriously suicidal, but I was in that dark place of not being able to figure out how to get a grip, how to make a difference.
So, what kind of pain were you experiencing that they could not figure out how to manage it?
It was, it took 3 years to get a diagnosis. The pain was really all over my body, but mostly in my neck, where I had severe whiplash, probably like the shaking baby syndrome, because I had a little bit of a traumatic brain injury as a result, which I didn't know at the time. But the pain was just constant. It never left, 24/7. And I used to have a microwave neck wrap literally in my bedroom upstairs, so that I didn't have to go downstairs in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. when I'm in pain, and heat helped. So I had this 24/7 microwave neck wrapped. And then when I finally, came to the point of realizing I can't go on like this, I have to make a major change. And so I began a process of closing my business. And looking back now, it was really more about quitting. My emotional, mental, and spiritual state was really more about quitting my practice, as opposed to surrendering to the reality of my situation and looking at it as a letting go, as a turning over, and as a positive thing. It was very, instead, traumatic for me to let go of my life as I knew it. And
Now, did you have to close your practice because you were in constant pain?
yeah, yes, exactly. So for 6 years after the accident, in those 6 years, I tried. Well, the first 3 of those 6 years, I wasn't even diagnosed. I didn't even know what I was dealing with. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know why I couldn't fix it. I went A to Z with holistic care, A to Z with allopathic care, and still suffering with just terrible pain. And the best relief I got really was the heating pad. the microwave neck wrap. So
No, stop there for a moment because you had mentioned at one point that you actually wanted to take your own life. Was it because of the pain, the despair, the lack of hope? What was going through your mind that you would even think of that?
the 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 pain, the physical pain was very constant and debilitating. I was becoming more and more debilitated.
Mhm.
As I became physically more and more debilitated, I became more emotionally distressed.
Excuse me.
Mhm. And so it's like I couldn't figure out how to get rid of this pain. And so living with this kind of pain and not being able to function, I mean, I gave everything to my clients and my private practice, and then I would come home and have nothing left for me. And that is not a balanced life. That's not a happy life. And so I realized, I just can't go on like this. I just can't go on. But I had no answers and I had no idea about how to make it better. And that's where I became hopeless. It's like uh, I didn't really I was losing hope. And then I talked with my sister about it, and I said, I can't imagine another 40 years of living like this. And she said, well, then you have to make a major change. And so I realized that's really what I had to do. I had to let go of life as I knew it, and I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know what would happen. I only knew I couldn't stay where I was.
Okay. And so what happened next?
Well, next is the beautiful part of the story, which is really wonderful, as you probably know and have experienced, that when you come from so much trauma and so much despair and depression and suffering, that when you find the ways to pull yourself out of that and find your resilience, that what I call the courageous warrior within me, it's it's exhilarating. You're full of hope again. And hope, I mean, you just need a speck of it. But hope, you have to have hope, because without hope, there's nowhere to go but down and out. you know. So I got my hope back, and after I it's a very interesting story. So I closed my practice, gave my clients notice, and set a process, that was healing for them and for me to let go of all of that, because I worked with people for years, and I loved I loved my private practice as a psychotherapist. I mean, I specialized in groups. We did transformational retreats several times a year, and I was just very happy doing my life purpose, because that is my life purpose, is helping other people heal. So after I quit, I didn't know what I was going to do with myself, but my sister, the one that helped me, um, we moved closer to where my parents lived in California from Oregon. I moved from Oregon to California, and I started on a path of just, pulling my life back together and concentrating on my health, concentrating on lowering my stress so that my body could heal better. And in that time, I decided, I never wanted to be on disability. That's what I ended up doing. But I never wanted to stay on disability. Like, I wanted on and then off. So I started thinking, as soon as I quit my practice, like, well, what else can I do with my life? How else can I help other people? What am I here for? Really, it became an existential question for me. And um, I decided I was going to do a retreat, my house in Oregon a retreat center, because I love Oregon. I love my house that I built. And so I I set out to do that. And when I went there over the summer, I got a phone. I found out about a rare dog breed called the Mexican hairless, or their breed name is Xoloitzcuintli. And they're a hairless breed that goes back 3,500 years to the ancient Aztecs. And they um, they were used as what they called spiritual mystical healing dogs. They were used as, in the literature, quote, bed warmers for arthritis. So because of their hairlessness, skin to skin, they're like a 24/7 microwave neck wrap.
Wow.
So when I learned about this breed, I decided I was going to get a toy size. They come in 3 sizes. I was going to get a toy size and trade my 24/7 microwave neck wrap for a 24/7 no microwave hot dog. And that's what I did. And I put her around my neck and I called her Toaster.
Oh,
And
you're kidding. What a cute name, Toaster.
I love the name Toaster. Sometimes I wished I hadn't just named her Hot Dog. I thought about hot dog, but I thought, well, that's stupid. But
Talk about really going organic, because like, from obviously microwave, which is like technology, and here you are going to go all, you'd probably save a lot of electricity as well, not having to microwave all the time, right? Uh, well, that is very amazing. Toaster, I didn't know that was the name. I love it. And so how did Toaster help you heal? Like, I know that there was, you had another loss, a human loss as well, right?
right at that same time, um, when I, went to Oregon to try and build a retreat center and rent that out and then be able to live there, my mom, 3 weeks, I got Toaster. And 3 weeks after I got Toaster as a little puppy, I got a call from my mom that she had terminal cancer. And so I changed my plan and left Oregon again, went back to Southern California where they lived, and took Toaster, and was there for every day with my mom for her last 2 years. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. I mean, the car accident and all that followed was a hard price to pay, but it was such a blessing of that car accident, because I never would have quit my practice in Oregon to go stay with her for 2 years. I
Very interestingly enough, like, I'm listening to you and I'm smiling because, I was also widowed. um you know about in 2009, actually, I lost my spouse to pancreatic cancer, 8 months of our wedding day. And during the time that she was ailing and actually critically ill, I actually was laid off from my pharmaceutical sales job. But in a way, on hindsight, I said to myself, it was actually a blessing that that happened to me, because I allowed myself the liberty of time to be able to spend those last moments with our loved ones, just like you did with your mother. So in a way, isn't that amazing how the timing happens? And so, like that, so to speak, it's like a blessing in disguise. So go
Yeah,
ahead. So your mom passed on, you were able to spend like 2 years of, the last 2 years of her life with her, and you
yeah.
have Toaster with you. Did you come back to Oregon after that?
No, no, because I was still debilitated. I was still actually very debilitated in those 2 years, because that happened right after I quit my practice. So less than a year later, my mom gets diagnosed with terminal cancer. I'm still ill. I'm still debilitated, and emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, along with physically, just derailed. I was, really needed a lot of healing. And it was, it kind of was in that experience with my mom of the last 2 years, it was a healing thing for both of us, because I brought her a lot of joy. And in those 2 years, I was with her every day. I took her out for hours. We'd go shopping when she was able to. We'd go shopping and out for lunch and to the beach. And that brought me a lot of joy, making her time and my time with her so special and so joyful amidst all the tragedies we were experiencing. So, where was I going with that?
No, so okay, now you lost your mom, and then like I know that you're, like at some point, you have also lost your other baby, your toaster.
Oh, well, that was 17 years later.
Oh wow. Okay. 17 years later after your mom passed on.
Right.
So,
Right.
so because I wanted to get to the part that okay, 17 years later, that was a very nice full life for Toaster, right? And
Yeah.
so you know, you lost Toaster, and then now you feel like you've lost a child. Yes.
Well, not only that, I really lost two because in when Toaster was 3 years old, Animal Planet got heard about from a pet photographer that took pictures of Toaster and her pregnancy and her litter. Or well, first Animal Planet did a documentary with her pregnancy and the birthing, the whelping. So that was that was a very amazing experience to go through that with Toaster, and then Animal Planet telling our story about how this ancient breed of dog helped me with fibromyalgia, and really, she became the first identified service dog. I trained her as a service dog
Mm.
for as a heating pad, as my neck wrap, and many
Okay.
other things.
Okay, like let's take for a moment because like people are saying they're probably very confused. Okay, so Nancy has this incredible, unique breed of dog, Mexican hairless, so without hair, and so obviously because of the skin to skin contact, it was constantly warm, and so she was able to actually replace her 24-hour microwaving of this, heating pads with a live fur baby, so to speak, named Toaster. And
Yeah.
so like, so anyway, just like what you said, like like Toaster was featured on Animal Planet. Woo! So we actually had a superstar dog here. And so now, okay, now what happened and how did it basically lead you to what you're doing right now, helping people from grief to growth?
Right. So Toaster's litter was filmed by Animal Planet, and um, Animal Planet hooked me up with an organization called National Fibromyalgia Association, and they did an article in their magazine, and that spread the word to everyone around the country and really outside of the country, so that I was able to place Toaster's dogs, her puppies, as service dogs with other people with chronic pain. So what Toaster birthed and what Animal Planet birthed was not just Toaster's litter, but she helped me birth another whole mission. I ended up getting so many calls from people around the country and outside of the country asking for a little help to find a toaster of their own. And I started a nonprofit helping people find this rare and expensive breed of dog. That led to, well, actually, Toaster started before then, now that I think about it. Toaster posed on her own as a little tiny puppy with a cup in her mouth she retrieved from a recycling bag on the floor. It was actually a Nancy's yogurt cup in her mouth. Long story short, I ended up waiting for her to just change her position, but she didn't. So I grabbed my camera, I took a picture, and when I got that picture back, I looked at it and I thought, wow, this is a greeting card. So Toaster inspired a whole greeting card and gift line called Pause for Comfort that was specifically written for people with chronic illness and disability and their caregivers. So that was her first, Toasters just birthed so much for me. That was the first thing. The second thing was when she had her litter and she birthed, really a nonprofit. And then one of the puppies that you'll see, you can watch this Animal Planet's on my website. You'll see one of her hairless female puppies ended up coming back to me after going to the breeder because she had a bad luxated patella, bad knee. And she became my three-legged service dog. So I had, when you talk about loss, I had both Toaster and Pink. And within 9 months of each other, Toaster was 17, Pink was 14. I ended up having to go through that heart wrenching, gut wrenching, heartbreaking experience of making a decision about lifting them up, as I call it, instead of putting them down.
Oh my
And
goodness. I've been through one myself. I remember I was wailing at the vet office, and I could just imagine the horrific, experience that you were feeling then. I'd like to get before we close. I'd like to get the moment to now talk to you about. Let's talk about the book series that you have in the 7 steps to healing, something like that. I'm probably not saying the right title, but can you please talk to us about it and tell us how people can be helped, when they're going through grief, such as loss of your mother and also loss of 2 fur babies.
well, that's another part of the story of the impact of Toaster and Pink had. Pink was the puppy. She actually became 3-legged at the age of 1 because of this bad knee. So I wrote her story, Pink, the 3-legged dog who lost her leg and found her courage. So
Oh,
Pink was an incredible mentor and inspiration for me, about, as was Toaster, about how to find that resilience, how to reinvent myself, how to surrender. So over those 14, 17 years, I really kind of, as a therapist, put together my clinical skills with my personal journey of disability and came up with really kind of a recipe, a formula that came down to 7 practices, or 7 steps, you could call them, but I'm calling them practices now, because it really is more of a practice than a step. And so
okay.
they helped me sort of really by mentoring me, especially Pink, of how she dealt with her disability. I found really 7 principles, practices, powerful practices, I call them.
So
So
you have a book, right?
uh,
Like
the the book series is called, the original was called Steps of Hope and Healing, uh,
mhm.
transforming the emotional, mental, and spiritual impact of chronic illness and disability. But I'm changing it now because it's evolved into really what I'm doing now, which is, it's called From Hurting to Healing, after chronic illness and disability, uh, 7 powerful practices to manage your mind and heal your heart. Because that's really what my work is about, is helping people find their resilience through all of these practices, these 7 practices. The first being surrender without giving up. And um, it's a book series. So the next book I'm coming out with is for From Hurting to Healing After Pet Loss, and transforming grief, going beyond just the acceptance of grief, but really instead using the experience of that relationship, human or pet, to do your personal growth, to change who you are and who you become as a result of that relationship, as a result of
Mhm.
that loss of the relationship. So it's very powerful. It's very transforming to really go into grief work in a way that transforms you, and not just.
So is it like, your grief work, is it all on books, or do you also coach clients?
I coach clients. I have groups. I just started. Actually, tomorrow is going to be the launch movie called Angel Dog, for an event that I'm spending time with people on Zoom. We watch the movie together, and then we have a discussion afterwards, about the movie and what it teaches us about grief and loss. So these are all movies that are the theme-based loss and grief, whether it's human or pet, and that's sort of my new baby.
Oh my goodness. I love all the birth of the new babies. Like the project, like it's so amazing how you are able to actually reinvent yourself and create new possibilities, create new ways that you can actually help heal people from hurting to healing, from grief to growth, right? Now, so if they would like to be part of your group coaching, if they would like to also buy your books, how can they do that?
The best thing to do is go to my website and schedule like a 15-minute connect call, and then I can, not only help them with whatever they're currently dealing with, but I can also sort of field the questions of in what ways that I might be helpful to them. So
What's your website?
It's nancygordonglobal.com. So it's Nancy Gordon, Gordon, global, Global, because I really want to reach the world. My mission, my heartfelt passionate mission out of all these experiences is to make a difference in the world about how people perceive, experience, how they understand, and how they heal grief and loss.
Now, question. Now that you've lost Toaster and Pink, do you have another, dog that actually provides you relief?
Not yet, but I will. In fact, I'm getting really sick of using a heat. I'm back to the 24/7 microwave, but having a puppy and training a service dog is really time and labor intensive. And I've been really kind of taking my time with my grief. First of all, I'm not one of those people that can run right out and get another toaster. There isn't another toaster.
Of course, they are irreplaceable.
Right.
Give us, like, before we close, can you give us 3 short tips on how you can, like, if they're going through like if they're going through grief right now, if they're hurting, would you give them 3 quick tips on what they can do to apply like more positive thinking or healing on their own lives?
Well, one of the first things that I teach people about grief is that there is no right or wrong about it, that it's everybody's own journey. And the most important way to make use of that journey is to allow yourself to receive support. A lot of people have trouble receiving. A lot of people have trouble sharing their feelings. And grief is something that part of it people need to do alone by themselves, and then part of it people really need to be connected to others to get that full range of healing. And so one of the things that I think is most important, besides accepting where you are and allowing your journey of grief to unfold, is to also be receptive and to reach out and get the kind of support you need. That's one of the things that I offer as my services. I really help people navigate that journey of grief and really help them transform it. So,
okay, second.
The second, well, that was 2 in 1, but
okay, yeah. All right. So yeah. So basically, within yourself, honoring the feeling that you're having, and then reaching out to other people for support. And what's the third?
The third is,
how about reinventing, creating an outlet?
I was going to say, find ways to really express it positively. I have one client who had a brain injury, and a big part of her journey of grief has been through her art. And it's been so healing for her. So whatever form that is, journaling, or taking an art class, or just doing anything, music is healing. Yes,
definitely. So
yeah.
All right. Okay, let's summarize this. So you're going to, heal within yourself, find, like muster the courage, so to speak, and heal from yourself, and then seek the support of others so that you don't feel alone, and that you will be uplifted in so many ways, and you can be encouraged. And also find another way to channel your grief into something you possibly creative, so it becomes an outlet. That, and even better, if you could actually create something that also transforms lives and helps others, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
beautiful. Remember, if you would like to take part of Nancy Gordon's coaching, you like a group coaching, she has one starting tomorrow. She also has a book series, and it's really quite phenomenal. I love the artwork as well, and the message that you have. Nancy Gordon Global, right? Nancy,
Global.
yeah, 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 right.
Make a difference in the world.
Yeah, yeah. So make a difference in the world. Nancy Gordon Global.com. And so you can, would they be able to see Toaster in there, or do they have to go? Is the link to the YouTube about Animal Planet, and
Yeah, yes,
it's
it's all on the website. Yes, and people can email me at Nancy Gordon 7practices at gmail.com. And they, I can send you specific links if you tell me what you're really looking for, as well as set up a connection call. And I just want to add one thing about loss and working with loss, and that is, in general, human loss is, it still has a ways to go in the whole world in terms of how people really respond to it and experience it, and help each other heal. But especially with pets, I've had clients who have come to me after a week that their pet has passed. They say, my husband says, it's already been a week. Aren't you over it yet? Those are not the people you want around to support you. So in that tip about getting support, also make sure that you find the people who really can support you in a positive way, not with judgment like that.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting when people say like it's just a dog? What do you mean it's just a dog? His
Exactly.
family, like they become like so bonded together with you. They are family. So it's like losing a child. So, for like it's not like, oh, in 1 week, that's the threshold, you'll be able to move on. No, it does not work that way. So if you're also surrounded by people who are understanding and compassionate and loving, these are also all very, very healing. Nancy, it has been an amazing life transforming day, because I love how you shared your own journey about, going through pain, having to deal with like undiagnosed source of pain, and having to even think about taking your own life, losing a mother, and then losing two of your beautiful fur babies, and as a result actually found healing for yourself, and now being able to help empower others, healing from the loss of loved ones, including our beloved pets. So thank you so very much for shining your light. It has been such an honor, and I can't wait to continue to connect with you. And of course, like we invite you to go to NancyGordonGlobal.com, and please reach out to her. And then, if you know of anyone who are going through loss of a loved one or even pets, please connect with Nancy, because she certainly could help you heal. All right.
Thank you.
And
It was
you're
wonderful.
welcome, and until next time, till the next Faces of Resilience, live life audaciously, with resilience, and remember, make your mess your message, just like what Nancy did. All right, until next time, this is Furley. Bye bye. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you.